What is up, guys? Welcome to another live session. Today is December 20th, 2019, and we're back at again on the charts for our Friday session. Now, obviously, this session is different because this is basically the last day and week of trading for the year. Starting next week, many brokers, countries, banks, etc., have holidays. Many brokers have turned off, anyone from getting entries on trades from Monday all the way through Friday. It depends on your broker. I suggest you check out their website to see the hours. Some brokers will actually email you with their holiday schedule, even if they're open in like a day or two, maybe after Christmas or whatever the case may be. The volume is gonna be really really low, and so will the spread. So it won't be worth trading. There's not gonna be any movements, and when the time comes, you will see the 5 minute chart. It's literally Lego pieces being placed one after the other, and nothing really happening. And so that's how it is during this time of the year. It's just there's no volume, right? Banks are on holidays. People are taking off, and that's what causes the lack of volume. So. Um, letting everyone get settled. Hope you hope you all of you are well, and you get some time to relax this Christmas. And the stream health is good. I like to give OBS some time because see, it's one moment, guys. Alright, guys, for those that have joined the stream, I'm going to restart it because OBS is once again acting up. So just one moment, guys. Be sure to join back. It has looked like it. Okay, so 1 second. Alright, what's up, guys? To another live session. We're going to try this one more time. Again, OBS is giving me green, then orange, then yellow. Just check the stream speed. It's good. Really not sure. It's like going on and off. It's like trolling me right now. I'm going to check the stream quality on YouTube and see how that is. If that is looking good, then we'll go ahead. Might just be the interface.
I want to show you something.
So it's looking good on my end. Let me move the mouse around. Let me actually change the pair. Okay, it's looking good on my end. Okay, cool. Let me just share this link out. And we will get rolling. So, technology, eh? One moment, guys. Join the live. Alright, awesome. Okay, let's go. So in today's session, I wanted to do basically a recap of our previous live session, our free one, where we did a market outlook for the remainder of the year going into 2020 and even looking past that. So this week, because of the dying down of volume, we weren't able to enter too many trades, but we did have a few solid ones. One of them was pound dollar short, and this bias we kind of developed last week on last week's Friday free session. And trade setup was very simple, played out perfectly to OT. And this was the overall trade setup. We took a nice 180 pips right here. Easy for the taking, very simple move, no drawdown. And if we go to the weekly, we can see our bias. So we originally had a long bias on the pound dollar. The reason for this was, zoom in here. So pound dollar, just this over. Pound dollar created this support down here, and these are all historical lows for the pound. And so we had a nice rally, and we had a break of a downtrend. Okay, and this was mainly fueled by Boris Johnson winning the election. And so we had a lot of speculation drive pound dollar pretty high up into the 1.35 thousand area. But what happened was some sellers came in, especially because this level is a good resistance. So some sellers came in and drove price all the way down. So from our long outlook in 2020, depending on where this this weekly candle closes, it's going to tell us about where pound's headed next. So if we had a closure back within our trend line, we may be going lower, back to these historic lows near 1.20 thousand. So that is one case. The other case is it could come back and retest this trend line, and a rejection off it may be taking us to our target of 1.40 thousand. So obviously the weekly candle closes today, and we'll know after the holiday week is done where pound dollar is headed. But that was our overall analysis for the pound. Right now we have a kind of a mixed sentiment for it, although the short term is still pretty bearish. As you can see, it's just rebounding to some nice psychological level of 1.30 thousand right now as support. But any closures below 1.30 thousand, we're headed lower. So make sure you guys take note of that when the markets open back. And the markets are gonna probably open back. So this Wednesday is Christmas Day. Tuesday is Christmas Eve. And then we have Boxing Day on 26th. And then we have New Year's Eve on next Tuesday. And then again on Wednesday we have New Year's Day. So maybe we should see volume pick up on the Friday. I want to say the Friday, but most definitely January 6th. Everything will kind of be back to normal. Volume will be back in the markets. Everyone's going to be back from holidays, all the bankers, etc. So I think January 6th is when things will start to come back to normal, and we can start seeing our trade setups play out. But till then, it's going to be pretty rocky, and just that's just the time of year it is. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm glad we got this earlier short, and this candle would have faked out a lot of people. But price action kept it simple, and we got a nice entry. And now this whole week we were trying to enter Euro USD, it just wouldn't budge, and that was because of the decrease in volume. But thankfully, it finally came around, and this is why patience pays. So let's take a look at Euro. Boom, you can see we're in around 15 pips. Not bad, and the analysis on the daily time frame looks pretty good. We actually did it all the way from the monthly. So if we go to the monthly, you can see the euro obviously in a significant downtrend starting in 2008, and then you had lower lows, lower highs, etc. since then. And Euro USD created some support down here. I'm at 1.05 thousand. Okay, some very strong support here. It broke out of it to create a rally, and then it came pretty close to this trend line, and sellers came back down in and drove price lower. So from the monthly time frame, we saw that we were making higher highs, higher lows. I mean lower highs, lower lows. So the overall trend is down even on the monthly time frame, and so price are going to be magnetized to these levels on a long-term scale, and with the dollar creating a deal, a phase one deal with China, and the European Union still struggling with geopolitical tensions, and overall slowdown in growth, and then obviously Brexit's going to happen, so the euro could suffer considerably, and fundamental forces could drive down the price to 1.05 thousand for the year of 2020. So that is my overall bold prediction for euro. And if you go to the weekly, you can see the clear descending channel, very clear descending channel of higher highs, higher lows. And if we zoom in, you can see last week's weekly closure was after touching the top trend line of the channel, and now we're printing a inverted hammer, looking like we're gonna go lower. So this is a amazing, juicy setup, and it's probably the first setup we'll take when we come back on January 6th. Currently, we're still in it. I'll see how it plays out. By end of the day, we obviously want to get out and don't hold it over the holiday week. But for now, it looks pretty darn bearish, and I love it. We waited for like 4 whole days to get entry on this trade, and thank God we did, because there were some fake outs. On the daily, you can see a nice clean break of a nice trend line. Our first touch, our second touch, our third touch, clean break, the retest, the rejection, and our target for short term is 1.09961. So just short of 1.10 thousand, and we're currently in good shape. Definitely want to be out of it by the end of the day. So if you're going to sleep anytime soon, might as well close out. If you're gonna be awake, give it some time till maybe 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock to get out. Taking a closer look, you can actually see some of the price action play out. So this was the break, this was the retest, the rejection, and if you look, we've created some support at this previous low and this previous resistance. And so I told everyone in the live session, once you get a candle closure below this level, go ahead and enter, and that is what happened, and we are looking to go lower. So obviously the next target in mind is 1.10700, 13 pips away, followed by 1.10400, and then 1.10 thousand. So pretty juicy, pretty great. Definitely a setup that will play out in our favor. And obviously any further closes below here will probably confirm our idea of 1.05 thousand for euro. Now, a trade that we wanted to enter but just wouldn't budge, we just couldn't enter because it didn't satisfy our entry criteria, was gold. Gold just decided to consolidate this week and not really do anything. So we had an original short for gold from around 1472. We wanted a bearish closure below 1472. And you can see, we had a wick down on Tuesday, we had another wick down on Thursday, and then price was wicking up in this resistance. It's not doing really much, and you can see from the monthly time frame why we wanted this trade. So you can see these are the all-time highs for gold. Gold went as high as almost 2,000 per ounce, and when it made this previous rally to go higher, it used this blue region as support. So it went high as it could, came back as support, resistance, support, resistance, and then finally it broke support. Spent some time down here, and then it finally came back up to retest this previous support. So this is a very important level. And if we look at the monthly time frame, you can see we spent 4 months capped by this level, and 2 months indirectly trying to break it. So that's why the bearish is that's why the bias is short for gold in the long term, and these are all the levels we're targeting. One would obviously be 1422, and the next one would be 1355, and then maybe even 1184. So With the stronger dollar in 2020, we could see that happening. Powell said we're not looking to cut rates anymore. Inflation's back, sales are up, and employment's at an all-time low. And they added 266,000 jobs last month. In comparison, Canada lost 77,000 jobs. So it's going to take a lot of strength out of gold, and we can see prices head lower. In terms of technicals, we were waiting for obviously the best entry on this trade setup, and we just didn't get it. So you can see here very clearly the consolidation that gold was in before it finally snapped down. And you can see, this past week it was stuck between 1479 and 1459. So 200 pips of consolidation. Right now, this closure is maybe suggesting a partial retrace, maybe back up to 1485, maybe a bit higher, but I don't see it as a clear reversal. We obviously wanted to enter short, and the entry was based on the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, we just wanted that bearish closure to go lower. You can still see this resistance acting very strong. Multiple attempts here, multiple attempts here, multiple attempts during this week alone. Maybe like 10 attempts to go higher to no avail. So we're still counting on this support, this resistance to give us a trade setup. We just ran out of time, basically hit the shot clock because the week's done and next week's holidays. But on January 6th, if we're still here, this trade setup is still valid because the levels have been respected considerably so. And we're going to be looking for entries on Euro USD short and gold short. But I think with the markets dying down, you're going to see consolidation like this. And it's very apparent on the daily time frame. So you can see on the daily, just consolidating. This is a whole week of consolidation of doing nothing. If you look at past price action for gold, gold can move a lot within days. It can move. Look, this candle was over 120 pips. So we're not. This is definitely volume that's not normal to regular market conditions, and that's something you have to keep in mind. But with that being said, for veteran traders, this is normal, and most people are out of the markets. We'll let Euro USD run and see what can give us in the next few hours. But for the most part, I think this year has ran its course and has done pretty good for us. Just checking out the chat. Say morning to everyone. And at this point, I want to take a look at some of the other setups. Crude oil, we also did a long-term outlook, and so we're going to take a quick peek at that. Then we'll take a look at crypto, and then I'm going to talk about why patience pays, and we will be done with that. So crude oil, we had a potential long. Entry criteria was not met, and so now it is looking like it could be a short. We did not enter this trade, by the way. It was a possible setup. If you look at the daily time frame, we're just coming off some pretty good psychological resistance at $60 per barrel for crude oil. You can see previous resistance here, a nice resistance here. We could have a short because our long play just didn't happen. If we move, I actually don't want to move this because I do want to talk about that later. But a short could be in play. Today's daily closure is important though, and what I mean by that is right now the daily closure is acting like a indecision candle, or maybe even a hammer, depending on where the wicks close. But you can see the top and bottom have a pretty decent sized wick. Ideally, we want crude oil, the body of this candle, to come lower. If the body of the candle comes lower, then it's definitely a sell signal to me. But if it's any sort of hammer or even a candle like this right now, I'd wait till maybe further confirmation on the next candle. But the potential to long was there. We just need to get the entry criteria, and I'll talk about that at the end of the day, at the end of the session, of why patience pays. And the levels are still pretty consistent. It just depends how we react. Obviously, commodities will also be out of the markets next week. So it's something to keep in mind. Going on to crypto, we did start to look at these two cryptocurrencies at the end of every session, just to keep things unique and not too bland with Forex all the time. So Bitcoin, we had an overall target of 6,000. We made one attempt to go lower. We went halfway there. We made another attempt. We went halfway there. In the past 2 days, we've kind of consolidated after this push. So this candle right here, this daily candle, was because of the impeachment results of Trump. And so you had Bitcoin come back with some strength. And then the day after, it just consolidating, really didn't do much. But the overall short is still there. If I take out the, let me just tell someone on the portal. So you can see as we put a trend line, we're still making higher, lower highs and lower lows, and I think it's just this was an impulse reaction from Trump getting impeached, but it's nothing other than that. And you can see we're still pretty conservative in that retrace we've made. I actually thought we were gonna go higher than 7,500, but that's where Bitcoin kind of held its rally against the Trump news. So the target still for a year end and going into 2020 is 6,000. Anything lower, if we go anything lower, I do see us going all the way to maybe 5,000 and 3,000 at psychological levels. But Bitcoin is chilling. Now the other crypto that we've been looking at is called Tezos, XTZUSD. And so we had an original idea to go long to this blue zone, and we went right to it and did a reversal, so that was awesome. And then we had another idea back to $1. We got that. That was awesome. And now for Tezos, we're basically waiting for a closure below 1.50 to head us lower, some sort of bullish reaction off here to go back to $2 and then higher. So let's take a look at the 4-hour. That's the time frame we usually like. And so this is a perfect example of what I mean by a bearish closure. This candle closure, although it's quote-unquote a bearish candle, it's not a bearish closure because we have an equal wick to the top and bottom, and that shows me it's an indecision candle. I would not enter that. And so if you did enter Tezos at this point, you had the next 4-hour candle telling you to get out because the next 4-hour candle was a bullish hammer, and after that Tezos did make a mini rally. So when I mean bearish candle closure, I usually mean a candle with a very fat body with very little wick to the bottom. Okay, candle like this, candle like this. Let's see, look for other examples. A candle like this. Obviously that we don't have it. We have a lot of wicks to the bottom, and that indicates the seller's reluctancy to go lower. So that's something to keep in mind. Just looking at some near-term resistance for Tezos. You can see a level right around here. $1.58 or $1.60. I think $1.60 is a good level. So for Tezos, any closure above $1.60 bullish. We're going long back to maybe $2 or definitely so somewhere here to 172. So this is a possible setup. I think crypto should be fine during next week. So it's good that we're looking at it, but this is a setup right here. Bullish closure. For example, this is not a bullish closure because it's just a wick to the top, not a bullish closure. You want a big body candle with very little wick to the top, and so we could target 1.72, and then if we get that, depending on momentum, back to $1.20. I mean $2. So that is Tezos, and that's the outlook for 2020. The trading year is pretty much finito, and amazing amount of pips that were made this year. I just can't believe we actually did so well. And for those that are watching this later today and you want to get in on the fun, not just the Monday and Friday sessions, you can go to forexlens.com/forex-trading-room, and click sign up for a free membership if you want to, just stick with the free sessions. If you want to get all the access, all the sessions, plus our 5 signal providers, go ahead and click that, and I can give you a 25% coupon code, and that code is 25, capital O, capital F, capital F. Put this at checkout, you get 25% off your first month in the trading room. And that covers it. So hopefully you guys have a great holidays. You get a chance to decompress. It's only just 1 week of not trading, being with your family, kind of putting your goals in perspective. And then back on January 6th, we're ready to go. And you have another 11 months to work and trade and work at your craft. So don't feel like you're missing out, because there's going to be nothing to trade next week. So take a breather, take a break. We deserved it. We had a great run. For example, we can see our past results on our website for our signals. And you can see we've had some great months. November was really good for us. We had 10,090 in October. November has yet to be updated, but we had a great start as well. A decent amount of pips, 1040 pips in November. So pretty great. We only had one losing trade in the month. So we've had a pretty good run, and we look to continue it. So yeah, I'll see you guys when the holidays are done, and hopefully you guys are ready to go then. So with that being said, guys, I'm RP Forex. Happy holidays, and I'm logging off. Peace.